Staying with us. We are staying with the arraignment of Idris Okuneye, popularly known as Bobrisky, where the crossdresser has now been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment with no option of fine for abusing the Naira. Justice Abimbila Awogboro of the Federal High Court, Ikoyi, handed down the sentence earlier today. Since his conviction last week, the controversial personality had been in the custody of the EFCC, prosecuting the case. The Federal High Court initially adjourned his sentencing till the 9th of April, but that sitting did not hold due to the fitri holidays. Mr. Okuneye had asked for leniency after he pleaded guilty to charges of Naira mutilation filed against him by the anti-graft agency. He told the court that he was unaware of the laws guiding the use of the Naira and as such acted ignorantly. The crossdresser also promised to use his social media platforms to educate Nigerians on the dangers of Naira abuse. The EFCC earlier during the last proceedings also applied that counts 5 and 6, bordering on money laundering, filed against the controversial personality, is struck out following an agreement reached with the defendant to ensure expedition of the case. Also, the Lagos State Special Offences Court, sitting in Ikeja, has granted 50 million naira bail to the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Emefiele. He was arraigned on Monday for alleged abuse of office and fraud to the tune of $4.5 billion and 2.8 billion naira. The defendant standing trial along with one Henry Sioma Amoli had pleaded not guilty to the 26-count charge, after which they applied for bail on liberal terms. Justice Rahman Oshodi, in his ruling, admitted Mr. Emefiele to 50 million naira bail with 2 sureties in like sum. Justice Oshodi held that the sureties must be gainfully employed and have 3 years tax payment with the Lagos State government. He also said that the sureties must show proper identification and they must be registered in the Lagos State bail management system. The judge also said he was satisfied with the bail conditions of 1 million naira earlier given to Mr. Emefiele's co-defendant, who is standing another charge before Justice Olufunke Sule-Hamzat before a Yaba High Court. Justice Oshodi, however, said the bail documents must be transferred to the Special Offences Court and it must also be registered in the Lagos State bail management system. Kemi Foladiemo joins me now for more on these 2 issues. Kemi, let's begin with the case of Idris Okuneye, Bobrisky. Now he's been sentenced to 6 months in prison. Perhaps one question that's been on the lips of people is which cell he would be in. Is he the female cell or the male cell? What more can you tell us about this matter?
Well, it's going to be rather difficult to ascertain as at now where he will be. But one interesting scene played out in court today, before Justice Awogboro of the Federal High Court, Ikoyi, where I am. As soon as he came in, the judge asked for his gender, and he said, "I am a man." And this is unlike the position that Bobrisky had been, propagating online. We know how prominent he is online. We know how loud he has been with the sisterhood code that he has been identifying with and being open about his transitioning from a man to a woman. Of course, we also know that the name on the charge sheet is reading Idris Okuneye, Idris Olanrewaju Okuneye, male in brackets. And as such, even though he came in dressed today, just like the last adjourned date, in a long jalamia, so to speak, in a long black robe, and he had a veil on. At the last adjourned day, the judge also asked him to remove the veil that he had on, covering his face, and he, of course, obliged, he of course obeyed the order. But today was also a very interesting thing, like I said earlier on, where he identified as being a man. While he was in the EFCC custody, where he was brought from to hear his sentencing today, we understand that he had been in a lone cell, neither a male or a female cell, but he had been kept in a lone cell, he alone, so to speak. And we also understand that at the point, of course, his beards were already growing out, though that has not been confirmed by the EFCC operatives, but we heard that in the grapevine, so to speak. So where he's heading, I don't know if the correctional facility has the luxury of a loan cell, unlike what's obtained while he was in EFCC custody. But presently, he's in the holding cell within the court premises, the Federal High Court premises, because there are still some other matters ongoing here in Ikoyi. So when they are all done, because now he has been transferred to the Ikoyi Correctional Center, where he is expected to serve out his sentencing. So, but he is being kept with some other inmates at the holding cell of the Federal High Court, Ikoyi.
All right, Kemi. Let's now talk about another case, which was that of the former governor of the CBN, Godwin Emefiele. He has been granted bail, 50 million naira. Talk to us about that.
All right. The case was last heard involving the former central bank governor on Monday this week. He had applied for bail. He, along with his co-defendant, Isioma Omole. But many had expected that a ruling would have been given that day. But you know, so many times you cannot preempt the judge. The judge adjourned till Thursday, yesterday, but that day was caught up by the 3-day public holiday issued by the government in view of the Eid al-Fitri celebration. And so the next hearing date fell on Friday today. And the first business of the day was for the court to deliver its ruling on the bail application, bearing in mind that Mr. Emefiele is already standing trial on an earlier case in Abuja, and he's also due to be arraigned on a case involving the botched Naira redesign policy. That is also going to come up sometime later this month in Abuja as well. So these were the grounds that the Defense Counsel had applied for in seeking for a bail on lenient grounds. But as we see today, the court has granted bail in the sum of 50 million naira, and he will now be moved from the Ikoyi office of the EFCC to a regular correctional facility. So that is what we are also seeing. And the case is also ongoing, but this time around in Ikeja, a state high court, the Ikeja Special Offences Court. And after the bail ruling was given, the first witness of the EFCC has been called upon to testify. However, his cross-examination will be stalled because as we speak now, we are hearing that the Defense Counsel is asking for a date for adjournment within which to cross-examine him on all the facts that he has brought forward to the court so far today. So that's much we can say now, that Mr. Emefiele has been granted bail, but pending when he fulfills his bail conditions, he will be at the correctional facility of the Nigerian Correctional Service.
Kemi Folademo for us in Ikoyi, Lagos State. Thank you very much, Kemi, for these updates. Let's now take you to Delta State, where some of the victims of the unfortunate boat accident involving a movie cast have been buried. The Marine Police of Anambra Command earlier recovered bodies of the 3 remaining victims. The state's police public relations officer, Tochukwu Ikenga, who revealed this to journalists, said 2 of the bodies were recovered on Thursday, 11th of April, while the last body was washed in by the tide earlier today. Commissioner of Police Aderemi Adeoye is appealing to water commuters to be safety conscious and avoid behavior that could undermine their safety and the passengers. CP Adeoye promised expedited investigation into the sad accident that claimed the lives of 5 actors. Now to Taraba State, where 2 abducted students of the Federal University Wokari have regained freedom after 10 days in captivity. The head of Information and Protocol Unit of the institution, Ashu Agbo, confirmed their release to TVC News on Friday via telephone conversation. Ashu Agbo also confirmed that ransom of 700,000 naira was paid in exchange for the students' freedom. The kidnappers had earlier demanded 50 million naira ransom, which was later reduced after negotiations. The 2 students, Joshua Sadona from the Department of Economics and Elizabeth Obiano from the Microbiology Department, were abducted at about 10 p.m. on the 1st of April within the school premises.